Hi, my name is Robert Giamadio, and this speech is going to be an introduction and a review of 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I'm going to review 5 basic points: character creation, dungeon mastering, how to play, story, and entertainment value. And I think how to play, that should be in the beginning. No, we'll get there. So first off, every player is going to need an idea for their character. Do you want to be a human fighter, an elf wizard, things like that? And then you're going to need one player's handbook, and then you're going to actually go through that book and follow the steps to make the character. You're going to choose your class. You've got several to choose from. You've got your fighter, your wizard, then you've got some of the stranger ones. You've got like a druid, rogue, things like that. General sword and sorcery ideas. Then you're going to pick a race. Some races give you bonuses, and others give you different bonuses. So you're going to have to choose which one's going to complement your class or just complement the idea you have for your character. You got different races such as orc, human, half-elf, elf, half-dragon, things like that. It's all a lot of fun. Then, one player gets designated, or usually volunteers, because that's the nicer way to do things, to be what's called the Dungeon Master. Now, what the Dungeon Master does is he is in control of the story, of the grand scheme of the story. He's got to come up with the encounters, which is comprised of choosing your monsters, setting up where they're going to be on the field, and then when the combat comes in, the Dungeon Master is actually going to control all of those monsters. Now, I said the Dungeon Master also is control of the story. The story here is one of the best things. It can be just about anything that you can imagine. There's a loose requirement that it's got to be sword and sorcery, although many systems offer options to even change that. You can run around in the 20s. You could be a far future game. The greatest part about a good campaign is that it can last for years. If you get a solid DM and a dedicated group of players, everyone who puts stuff into it will get something out of it. It's like an interactive novel. You got the main storyteller, but everybody else gets a little bit of say as to what goes on. Now, let's jump back to how to play. I skipped over that earlier because you needed to learn a little bit about the character creation and dungeon mastering before it would make any sense. So once you get your friends, you have to get your books, a player's handbook for the players, a dungeon master guide, and a bestiary, and those are for the dungeon master. Then you also have to get a set of dice. You need one 20-sided, one 12-sided, two 10-sided dice, an 8, a 6, and a 4. Now with all those dice, the DM, or the storyteller, he's going to set up your conflicts and your difficulties, and in most cases, you use your dice to resolve those conflicts. That's really all there is to it. Have a good imagination, and roll on some dice. That is how you play. It is one of the easiest things out there once you learn some of the more detailed intricacies. The entertainment value is where tabletop RPGs and Dungeons & Dragons really take off. You've got the DM's story. He sets up monsters. You gotta fight them. You gotta kill them. The DM, he gets to have a little bit of fun too, because not only does he write the story out for you, he also has to engage the players in combat. And a good DM knows it is okay to kill your players. Too much fun when that happens. But really the best part about it is you get to spend hours hanging out with your friends. You know, you got 5 or 6 guys sitting around a table. You got some drinks, some chips, whatever you want, you've got sitting right there, and you're just having a good time. So in conclusion to this, do I recommend Dungeons & Dragons to other people? Absolutely. I have been playing Dungeons & Dragons and other RPGs since I was about 8 years old. They are by far the most entertaining things that I can think of doing with a group of people on a Saturday night. What do I rate it as? It's kind of tricky to say. If you've got a solid group of people, it is definitely a 5 out of 5 game. If you've got a couple of people that are having some fun, and a couple of people who aren't, well, the ones that aren't going to have as much fun, it's going to drop the grade a little bit. Definitely worth the investment.